Hey everyone, I'm Elliot Cannon, the creative director here at Trendy Entertainment. We're going to talk to you today about what we've done with the campaign, which is a complete revamp and it's a lot of fun. What we found was really interesting was 60% of the new and returning players that have been playing Dungeon Defenders 2 never got to level 20 and never finished the campaign, and that was very telling for us. The old campaign was really long, and it was really just a series of connect the dot quests that were taking you out of the game. So what we've done is we've completely revamped the entire campaign. You get to level 50 now, the progression's super fast, it's all interconnected with a really strong storyline. We took all 18 maps that we developed over the last year and a half and put them together into a singular linear sequence that really tells a story with a beginning and a middle and an end. So the loot progression has been completely overhauled to give you much more meaningful pieces of gear for your complete hero deck now, all the way through from 1 to 50. At key points in a storyline at the ends of acts, a lot of times we place specific pieces of loot to make sure your full hero deck is really complete. So we've also changed the entire enemy schedule for the whole game, and that means what enemies appear when you get introduced to new enemies, how much more challenging and frenetic things are. That's been completely reimagined from the beginning. As we've really streamlined the whole presentation. It's much more beautiful and concise now, allowing you to get right back into the game where you were immediately. So you've got a new story, you're getting to level 50 a lot quicker, better gear, harder monsters, getting into the game with much more beautiful presentation. It's going to be a ton of fun because the next step is we're really going to ramp up the end game for those hardcore players.
Hello.
Hey there.
That was our latest trailer on the Journey Begins update. I'm Benny Torres.
Josh Javahari.
I'm Elliot Cannon.
And I'm Daniel.
And this is our Dungeon Defenders 2 bi-weekly Devstream. As you see, I'm wearing my emoji shirt. That's because I am so emotional, in a good way, about this patch, about this update. It's a huge update. Really, really excited about it. So let's dive right in, shall we?
That's good.
The first and most obvious thing, and we'll get, excuse me, we'll get the obvious things out of the way first, which is we have a new hero launching on Tuesday. It's the Mystic. There she is.
The lovely Mystic.
Zoom in, dude.
The lovely Mystic. Awesome. And so first thing about the Mystic is backstory. Backstory and the fact that she, I'm going to spoil a little bit, she doesn't technically die. She can technically not die.
She technically does not die.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So her story is, long ago she used to be this really good thief, or not as in a nice thief, but a really skilled thief. Basically, if you wanted something stolen, you'd go to her and she'd steal it for you. Someone hired her to steal this gauntlet, and she accepted the contract and whatnot. And but when she saw it, it kind of spoke to her, kind of old, weird, whispery thingies. And when she put it on, it kind of took over her whole arm. And it turns out this ancient demigod, serpent god thing lives inside it, and basically started to consume her soul. She went through quite a difficult time trying to figure out how to save herself. And lucky for her, the Old One army decided to attack Etheria and pillage and plunder. And she told the snake god, who's all about consuming souls, to lend her his power. And she'll feed him all the souls of the old ones, buying her enough time to figure out how to get it off. So that's kind of her backstory.
So a little bit of Michael Moorcock meets Conan the Barbarian there.
Barbarian.
Stormbringer meets Set.
So how do you design against a character that technically can't die, that technically is immortal? What's the mechanic that we use there?
Kill everything else.
Kill everything else. It's all about the souls, right? That's why you see her mana bar. Right now it doesn't tick down because you're in a tavern. But her purple mana bar will start to tick down because the serpent god's getting more and more hungry, and depending on how full or how empty it is, things start to happen. If it's all the way empty, the serpent god starts to feast on her soul again.
There's no beer meter though, right? It's just all fluff.
No, next year we'll have beer meter.
Beer meter? Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll take it from there.
Is that for the beer berrying?
You call that appeasement, right, Dan?
I call that appeasement. Yeah,
Cool.
appeasement meter.
So yeah, the big key here is that there is this dynamic of, you have a hero who is, maybe a little less than heroic, but still trying to do good.
Oh no, she's heroic.
She is quite heroic, but she's also got this evil, very clearly evil snake god who she's sort of made a deal with the serpent, as it were.
Yeah.
She
has a really cool death animation too, which you'll hope.
Oh, it's amazing. You have to show it. The death animation is cool.
So if Eric dies, it is on purpose.
Die,
by
dude.
the way.
Go get killed. Right now.
Oh,
it's eating her.
Yeah. That's
Wait a minute. So, where is she now?
Well, she's she's inside the gauntlet, and then she pops back out after a while. Because, respawn magic.
Don't you just hate
You
when-
can't play the snake with a full belly for 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
That's
yes,
cool.
So
That's
tell,
really
tell
cool.
us about her attacks. Tell us about her attacks and
attacks,
abilities.
right,
Yeah.
go
right.
for it.
So she uses a dagger because that's very thiefy. She doesn't really like big weapons. She needs something small.
New weapon sort of.
yeah,
type.
daggers, new weapon type. But she doesn't use it in your conventional assassin way. She doesn't shank things in the back. As you can see, she uses it as a kind of conduit for the snake god to kind of manifest himself and deal damage in like wide sweeping cones. He's currently using the medium attack speed dagger. The fast one is obviously a lot quicker, but you'll see the snake less. That's the fast one. So it's
It's a frontal cone sweep, hit everything on screen.
Yeah,
in front of you.
shorter range, but much quicker. And the heavy one, you see the snake god more, and you hit things in a much larger area. I think that's the heavy one, right there. And obviously her right click. She's like the monk. She's a hybrid, so she uses the gauntlet to shoot things outward. And unlike the monk, the dagger type will change the projectile type, and eventually we'll do that for the monk as well. Like you can see there.
Cool, there's projectiles. That looks good.
Really
shotgun
cool.
looking one. Yeah.
Okay, so she's got 4 abilities, obviously,
4 abilities.
and these 4 abilities are generally this hero. As I was playing her and looking her up and all that kind of stuff, it's really interesting to me how we kept on with that theme of she's kind of 2 heroes in one. She does have that sort of element of her. So let's talk about her abilities. Lash out.
Sure. Everything is about the snakes, right? All her power comes from the snake god. So the first one, when you press it, the snake god kind of comes out, or a spirit of him comes out. It lashes out at enemies in front of her. They take damage initially, and then
all the poison damage taken there.
and then they get debuffed with a poison thing, and then they take damage over time, and then it goes on cooldown.
How long does that tick for?
It takes for about 5 seconds. So once it goes off cooldown, you can reapply it again. And obviously, if you have cooldown reduction, you get some.
Does it stack with another mystic, maybe?
Each mystic, if there are 2 mystics, each one of them their poison will deal
Independently do damage?
Yeah,
That's good.
independently.
So you not like have someone already put the dot on, you can't put it on.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Into that, love stacking mystics and stacking poison. Call of Madness, which is probably my favorite
I love
one because
Godcore.
it's
God core is the best core. Call of Madness, you kind of see it. Oh, you kind of maybe see it there. There's a lot going on screen. But she kind of stabs her dagger, and the snake kind of emerges and hovers over the sky. It
Yeah,
lets,
go do that dude on the core while he's talking about it.
yeah,
Like, make everything attack each other.
there we go. See it.
Do it. Everyone on screen is killing each other.
Look up. There's the snake guy. He's floating. He's screaming.
All that damage is the monsters doing that to each other.
Yeah.
That's not her doing anything.
Yep, it basically makes all enemies under it kind of get confused and get crazy and start attacking each other for a duration. So it's a really good distraction. You probably won't get things to kill each other very well because the damage that enemies deal is quite low and their health is quite high because obviously that's the way our game currently works. But it's a really good way to distract enemies. People are on your core, just pop this thing, buy yourself some time. It's a really good CC.
Cool.
And that's what I love about her as a thief is that like thieves tend to cause chaos, rogues tend to cause chaos, but the way that she causes chaos
clone
is
people.
quite. Tell me about Dark Torment.
Dark Torment is her ultimate ability, as we call it. She hurls a dagger, or like a mystical dagger, and once it hits the target, it kind of gets impaled in their head,
Yeah.
and it deals damage to them over time. If you kill the target while that dagger is there, it spawns this defense for like 15 seconds.
It's like a snake cobra.
Yeah, and the defense kind of like zaps enemies, deals damage to them over time, starts killing them, and whatnot.
Can you pop that on
eventually.
one of them and then hit ones adjacent to it and they all get the effect, or just one of them gets the effect? Just the one that hits with Dark Torment gets
Yeah,
the
one
effect?
target gets it with Dark Torment, but through skill spheres and stuff, you can gain multiple stacks if it reduces cooldown.
Cool.
As you gain appeasement, I think as long as you're above 25% on hit, you have a cooldown reduction as well, so you can, throw one, go hit, throw another, hit. You can get like 3 or 4 of these things active at once.
Cool.
And just in case you missed that, those little purple bubbles are souls. They're
Yeah.
enemy souls, and so like the snake god embedded in her
You can pick them up
gauntlet
and her meter will fill up.
means souls. And so last but not least, in terms of her abilities, Serpent's Coil.
Serpent's Coil, and she's immortal, right? She doesn't need her conventional healing methods. So she throws like a dagger into the ground, and the snake coils around it. The snake deals damage to the target, like you see there.
Death Ray!
And and once the target dies, you see that green orb, which is now collected. It
That's
drops a
when you heal
pickup.
yourself?
Yeah, it drops a pickup, but it's not just for the Mystic. It's for any of your party members or whatever.
Oh, so some scrub on my team can take my healing off.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I shank him after that?
That's
or-
the price you pay for immortality, Elliot.
It's a really strong heal too.
Will
It's
the,
like
once the snake comes out and starts nailing one guy, will it stick on him until he's dead?
yeah, it sticks on it till
Okay,
it's
so
dead.
you need to place it in a good spot.
Yeah, put it in a good spot. Have towers kill it. You kill whoever kills it. As long as that one snake is aiming at it, it'll.
Will it take any damage?
No, it is.
So it's immune, so you don't have to
yeah.
worry about someone destroying it to
Yeah.
bits or anything like
Oh,
shot
nice.
in a while.
Yep. It doesn't deal a lot of damage itself, but it's more about I'm gonna generate health orbs
Cool.
for you and things like that.
Fun fact, inspired by the Caduceus, inspired by the health snake little symbol, which I was a huge fan of. Let's talk about our Mystics towers. The first one, Snaking Sands.
sometimes referred to internally as snacking sands.
Snacking.
You put a little trap, and once it's built, you'll see this like crystal ball thing with a bunch of sand in it, with little baby cobras all around it. When enemies proc it, which you'll see in a little bit, a giant sand vortex appears, and it slows them down gradually over time. Towards the end, it kind of pulls them back a little bit.
That's
And
clipping, we gotta fix that.
And once the effect expires, if the enemies are still within it, they'll stun,
You get stunned.
stun the
Okay.
target,
Cool.
and they'll take a good deal of damage. You'll see that.
Will that slow stack when anyone else is slow?
Will that what?
Will the slow part stack when anyone else is?
Only one of these snaking set, or a target can be affected by only one of these towers at once, but it will stack with other slows, so like cross
Okay, I
beam,
like
things
someone
like
else's
that.
snow.
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Elliot, you are feeling stacky today.
Oh, yeah, I love to kill things. You gotta understand the intricacies of killing everything.
Let's talk about Sand Viper.
Sand Viper, her kind of main damage dealing tower. The Mystic, like you might have noticed from most of her abilities, she's more about like single target damage more than AoE. We have a lot of things that are AoE. It's another laser beam tower. It looks at a target, fires this beam at it, and the longer it's hitting one target, the more damage it's going to deal, and it'll stick to this target until that target dies.
Great for heavies then.
Yeah, really good for taking down your heavy hitters, special enemies, things like that.
Cool.
Awesome. Viper's Fang.
Viper's Fang is a blockade, and the way it works is a super heavy duty snake that has a hat that has a snake on top of it. So it's a snake with a
Look
snake.
at it close, dude.
A snake with a snake.
Snake with a snaky hat.
Snakes on
You
snakes
came
on
out being
snakes.
destroyed. Ah, you got destroyed.
I don't know what stats you have, but they're not very
Like, he's
good.
got like everything in the game on his core.
I think,
Oh,
that's
there it
yours.
is. That's a better
That's all
spot.
fun.
Okay. Let's
Alright.
see snakes on snakes.
Snakes on snake. So it's a blockade, functions exactly the same way like a blockade does, except every few seconds it'll shoot forward, and if you look up, it bubbled a few enemies. Those enemies are.
Bubble in here like an arcade. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's
It works really well with the anti-air tower that the monk has, and the Mystic herself, like you saw Eric do. She can shoot the bubbles, and when you pop them, poison rain starts to fall on the enemies underneath it.
Do the ability that makes them all kill each other while this tower's nearby. I want to see that.
Oh. Call of Madness.
Yeah, do Call of Madness on that group on your core there,
Make them turn on each other.
and then have this bubble them all.
We should actually just have a whole dev stream that we're forcing Eric to do a variety of different things
Yeah,
in the
we need
game
to
live.
exploit Devstream. Synergy and exploitation is king.
Synergy and exploitation.
I'm
Elliot, exploitation, death.
Exploitation.
You are stacking the seven.
There's a whole campaign to slaughter around for
Her ultimate tower.
Her biggest and baddest tower
Obelisk.
is the obelisk. Ignore the giant swirling snake. We'll talk about that in a second. But the obelisk, you build kind of like this statue dedicated to the serpent god himself. The statue will not have the snake curling around it originally. We'll talk about it in a second. But it kind of zaps at targets, like you see there. So it's going to zap at targets. The first zap does damage. As you upgrade it, it's going to gain added effects. At max tier, it will have a chance to turn a random enemy into a snake, to shield you and give you a damage and ability power steroid. It'll bubble enemies itself too.
Okay.
So it
It
has
buffs
like
everyone in the area, which
yeah.
is really nice.
the buffs start to
There's a buff bubble there.
You start to unlock these things as you upgrade the tower.
Okay.
And with 100% appeasement, two things happen. The Mystic herself, you see that giant snake coiling around.
Yeah.
She gains a movement speed buff, and the snake god kind of manifests around her and can
She's
deal
throwing
damage.
super fast.
Yeah, and you can deal damage over time. And the snake god himself appears and shoots fire, because we love
Woohoo.
fire at Trendy.
Yeah.
It shoots fire down at enemies, dealing a great deal
Ow.
of damage.
Now bubble them. and then make them fight each other, and then
But
burn
well,
them to death.
well, this is what I mean.
Combine everything.
This is what I love about her is that, like, you know, I think every new hero that we put out there does like take it in a new place, but she's really about chaos. Like, she really is about status effects, and the Snake God. You know, I love the effect that you guys have put in here. You have
It's
the
not
sense
just
that
damage,
she's
you know.
barely in control. Like, she does feel sort of like, you know, am I controlling the Snake God, or is the Snake God controlling me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
From a feel standpoint.
Well, if you're conniving like I'm joking around with today, and you do things certain combinations, you're gonna pull off a lot of mass destruction.
Yeah,
so.
she combines really well, like the Snaking Sands and the Frost Beam Tower combine really well. Sky Guard with blockades combine really, really well. There's a lot of really good synergies that you can do with her. And to talk about the
You fly off cliffs inadvertently while running at high speed. Who doesn't want to die with a snake
She's
rubber?
fast.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's
so
really cool.
let's talk about the last thing to hit, because I forgot it last time with Lava Mancer, was the costume.
Oh, yeah.
The costume that she's launching with.
There we go.
Mm.
Obviously,
Very biblical.
obviously the Mystic is kind of Middle Eastern themed, so we thought, or the artist thought it would be really neat to give her kind of like an Egyptian themed
Yeah,
queen.
cobras and everything. It all
Cleopatra,
works.
yeah.
All that North African stuff is awesome.
Super into it. So
She has cool little gold braids in her hair and stuff. It's really nice detail.
And the gauntlet looks very different. I like this
Oh,
gauntlet.
yeah. And it's a little, you know, yellow and purple, complementary colors, back to preschool art for me. So that was, if you're just catching up to us, we just barreled through the Mystic, because this update is not only the Mystic, but Mystic, Goddess, God, Goddess, Chaos, Snake,
Killing machine.
Great
Killing
stuff.
Machine. How would we summarize the Mystic and her new costume here?
New costume. She's basically a Egyptian queen, I suppose.
Yeah.
And the Mystic herself is this massive, chaotic force that's barely hanging on as this serpent god is trying to break free and kill everything.
Lots of
The thing that's really awesome about her overall is one of the first times the guys have put together a hero that has the theme really permeating everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of other heroes that are like kind of sort of the theme, you can kind of read between the lines. Some of them like shooting ice shards where you're casting magic, like the gun witch has some weirdness in it. But with her, she's super consistent from the get-go. It's really fun.
Yeah, we're working really hard on that. I've mentioned it a bunch of times. We're trying to get that fantasy nailed. And we argue so much over that, like,
Oh, yeah.
don't make her do this, make her do this. And people say, like, why? Because we want to get that fantasy right. We want to get that whole feeling echoing across.
The
And
more over the top, the better.
Yeah, it strikes me, you know, our heroes can be like our babies sometimes, and this one is quite a pretty baby. Well
My
done.
baby would have a beer.
Good job.
Elliot has a bearded
We
baby.
don't have any beer in here either.
Man.
That's my failure. Blame Benny for the lack of beer.
actually,
You
it's
guys are
3
tea
o'clock.
drinkers, man. I don't know. About that.
So before we move on to the second major part of this,
Yeah, what we got
update,
next?
we were going to talk about campaign revamp, but I'm curious
Cool.
if we have any burning questions about the Mystic.
Sure. So about the Mystic, no, actually, I didn't see anything.
You're looking at Twitter while we're talking, yeah? Or
Yeah,
on
we're
the
looking
screen?
at Twitter. We're
I
looking
have,
at
I,
Twitch.
have, I have a lot of questions about the campaign revamp. People seem pretty.
Well, let's start talking about the campaign revamp, because that is the other thing that is launching on Tuesday alongside the Mystic. It's, again, wearing emojis, super excited. So let's talk about all the aspects of the campaign revamp in rapid fire. I'll start with Elliot there,
Sure.
and then we can talk.
Oh, I can talk
so,
fast, Jesus.
a better experience from the beginning. That's stuff
Yeah,
like.
that's definitely.
So let's talk about that. What does that mean?
Well, the team developed so much content last year, and we did a lot of content this year. And the Betsy storyline happened at the halfway point last year, and then they had the Harbinger kind of bolted on after Halloween. And there was this, we needed to put it all together to one consistent storyline. It was just there.
Yeah.
And the thing we tried to do really emphasize is all the maps in an order that makes a logical sense for a progression of a story, then ramp up the story with little loading screens and little narrative elements, and use the old cutscenes, and put it all together in one cohesive, cool, single-player-esque game you can then play multiplayer at any time. And then we said, besides that, once we got in there, we couldn't stop with just that. We went back and tweaked all the enemies and all the loot, and made sure you get better progression, and we're leveling you faster. And just the whole thing was just like, we want to make it super awesome, fast, fun. Saturday, Sunday, you're done, you're 50. 4 heroes at once. Because the old campaign was done with just one hero. Everyone just played one hero at a time, pretty much, except during the build phase, it could switch. And it's a different game now, and it has a lot more crazy heroes to play with. And all that was driven by a statistic. I know it sounds completely like an accountant or anything, but we have access with any live game. You can see all the metrics and see what everyone's doing all the time, all this kind of stuff. And one of the statistics was this like new people who like never played before, and people who kind of come back, like play for a month, go play another game, kind of reinstall and come back. They never got past level 20. And I was like, no, we're not having that.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that, because it wasn't cool, it wasn't fun, it was long, all those other things you saw in the dev blog written up from today, right?
Yeah.
So we want to eliminate that problem. Let's make it frenetic, make it fast, we're going to love you quickly, just make it about fun. That was really the big idea. And then Josh's guys got all involved with all the UI, making the experience fun.
We're getting there.
all that shit.
I'm gonna.
Like I said, I'll never shut up. But the thing is, it's like trying to describe a cake. I can't just talk about the icing on the left-hand side.
So I'll try to summarize it. Basically, if you're a mega fan, introducing this game to someone new is going to be way easier.
Yeah, two people can play on the weekend.
tutorial.
Your buddy can be leveled to 50 with full gear, ready to play Nightmare 1 in like a day and a half or something, or maybe 8 hours. And if you're an expert, you know how to get them through stuff even faster,
Right.
even quicker. There's some of the waves are shorter.
Yeah.
I mean, maps up to 5 waves. I mean, there are 3 now, and so I don't know. It's a lot cooler.
It strikes me
More
that
about fun, less about grind.
from the outside in, it might seem like we're sort of a little, we can only focus on so many things at once, and this campaign revamp is one of the times where we're focusing on all the in between. We're focusing on not putting our heart and soul into the Mystic, but although we did that, it's focusing on the experience, focusing on that.
It's the foundation. It's step one.
Okay.
Like once this step is done, now we can do the in-game stuff.
Okay.
And we have massive list of cool stuff that everyone wants to see happen in the game, ranging from higher difficulty levels, a way to have leaderboards, trading, more maps, different gameplay types, redo the loot system so it matters, be able to enchant. There's a huge amount of stuff. We want to do new enemies that provoke how heroes can respond to them. Well, we know about this stuff.
Yeah.
We've been thinking about doing this for a long time. And once we got this kind of basic thing glued together now, it's a real game, you know what I'm saying? Now we can go through and add on those other things that the people who've already been playing just been like dying to have.
So speaking
I
of
mean,
the,
it took us 9 months to get to this, but we needed to get the deck working, we needed to get all those other things working first before we could take this next step.
And I think the theme of a lot of this campaign revamp stuff, and also the rest of the year, is really stuff that will start making a lot more sense from a player standpoint of why we're making the change. And one of the cohesions is, tell us a little bit about how the campaign revamp includes a more cohesive story, or at least sort of showing off more of the story.
We wrote a story from scratch
Yeah.
using the existing stuff. It's like taking a bunch of cards on the table and laying them on the table and say which one should go where, in what order, what's happening, and if you were the 4 core heroes, what do they think's happening? And just present a story to you that's loose enough for you to kind of believe in it, and then go do it your own way. So the story is all about you beating a map, going to the next one, beating a map, going to the next one. A little bit of light story in there. So when you win a map and have a victory condition, that auto completes a quest for you. You don't have to go back to the hub anymore. Just stay in the game and play and have fun.
Yeah.
And the story's light. It's not like it's some Pillars of Eternity thing that's like, those are a great game if you're in the mood for that.
Yeah.
Like Baldur's Gate and all those games are awesome. It's just a light little bit of story around the edges. And with the art, which is something we love doing art all the time. 3D art, 2D art, we're just nuts about it. So we played our strengths, make it beautiful, make it pretty, make it fun, and concise. Not like me, I'm not concise, but the game is much more concise in the game for sure.
And part of that is a whole new order for the campaign. So even if you
it's
the
18
campaign,
maps. I mean, the original campaign was like 13 or something, I think. It had a bunch of extras at the bottom. So, and as we add more maps, because you've seen our pirate maps and our frozen maps and our Wild West maps, and other really green, shiny, foresty maps that are coming, all kind of neat stuff. Those are just going to add to like the adventure continues below the book. Now we get the book written. Everything else will just be like the adventure continues kind of thing. And the UIs already reflects that now too.
Ooh, I love that we're on the same page here, Elliot. I'm going to switch over to Java because I'm a big old interface nerd. I'm a big old interface nerd, and tell me how the campaign revamp sort of makes improvements to the interface all around.
Sure. So part of the campaign revamp is really showcasing, some of the arts and being a lot more accessible, because that's really one of our strengths. So we've, as Elliot mentioned, as you guys have seen, through
show the main menu, dude.
Some of the playing. We've got a brand new main menu, and the main menu actually ties into the progression. So you log off, you log back in, you remember where you were, you feel good about that, you start getting excited right away, and we also allow you to jump right in without even having to go to the hub. So you can continue on your campaign quests and
like a normal game.
Yeah, just like a normal game. Oh
my God, who would ever have thought?
That was almost a name for this update. Like a normal game update.
UX is really just about removing those barriers. So
that's right. It's make it seem smooth and clean.
So that was the focus for us. So
He's already completed the campaign, so his options are what? Show us the options to do with your mouse. Hopefully they'll be able to see it.
So you can go to town, you can go to the private hub, and you get your options and your exits. But if you have not finished the campaign, you have another option, which is to continue through the campaign. Another thing that we've added here is we've added, so one of the pain points was that what's new screen that popped up in the HUD all the time.
Just get me through the game.
It was cool,
you probably just hit escape right away. So we removed that and we threw it on the main menu. So you don't have to worry about that anymore. We added a little ticker on the bottom to keep you guys updated on what's going on, and we can push out.
That's what the stock prices will be. Yeah,
right. Eric's doing a great Vanna White, by the way. He's like using the mouse.
You know what we should do? We should have the community write random junk to go there every week.
Oh, I like that.
You know, as long as it's not too inflammatory.
Yeah. Okay, we'll throw up a forum.
They should quote who says it.
A forum
like
thread.
Lulz,
Yeah.
Like Lulz, where
we'll throw up a forum thread, and whoever can come up with the best sort of fake Ethereum news. I love that. I'll drive him along. I got you.
I'll run it up for you.
Talk about the game browser. Talk about the game browser for minutes and the better create game improvements.
So the game browser has also been updated. You guys have seen that a little bit. It's mostly just visual improvements, but also we kind of removed the old thumbnail preview for the maps, and we allow a nicer, nice large preview for all the maps. We also allow you to create games a little bit easier.
Well, slow down. Let them show it to people.
Sure.
Why are you telling them?
Sorry, I'm art of the mystic while we're waiting. Beautiful.
That's like 7 seconds.
Art.
All right, there we go. Very good. Now talk us through this, dude.
So yeah, we've got a nice map selector, and the map selector takes you through sort of the campaign progression.
What was the goofy example I gave you when we were first talking about this? When you came to me and said, I want to do this cool stuff with the UI. I said, make it like Vikings on Netflix, man.
That's right.
Remember? It was like, make it like TV and stuff. You see the episodes, whether it's the Tudors or Orange is the New Black or whatever you're into.
And the other thing is that
Netflix deserves a lot of credit for our UI design, right?
Or Vikings, which is funny considering how much killing you've been doing on this Devstream.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. After this is going to kill a bunch of people.
Well, why Netflix is so important because they have a really good design for like different kinds of input, like controller support and gamepad. So this works on consoles, and we're planning on making sure that all of our UIs going forward are designed
to work on all the platforms.
To be in sync.
You guys didn't have to do that for me as a Sony dude. I appreciate that.
What are you talking about?
Stronger campaign first.
But before we continue, actually, we also removed the min iPower requirement.
Oh yeah. That
so
was a pain point.
It's a suggestion instead of a
it's just a recommendation.
It's a recommendation.
Yeah, it's like a bent spoon.
So that's it.
Cool. Stronger campaign for a stronger you. Elliot hit on some of that.
Show one of the other skill levels. It's all concise. Cancel all that, dude. Sorry, I'm being bossy today.
Like it.
I'm the creative director. I can be bossy like once a month. All right. At the top of the game types, walk everybody through that.
Oh yeah, so
pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. A couple of filters. We actually have also organized the maps in terms of the acts. So have we talked about the acts organizing?
That was just something loose we put in there so you can kind of separate because some of the maps thematically have different art styles. That was all. Nothing too.
Just that's like a story thing, adding some action.
No Shakespeare and junk like that. No Deus Ex Machina business going on.
All the stuff in Dragon Falls.
Although Shakespeare is going to be our next hero.
We're not going to let Josh talk, but I would talk for him when you read his mind. Tell us about all the skill levels we deleted.
A lot.
Yeah. That was a big win. I hated those things.
Everything is about it's all about simplifying and removing barriers.
Absolutely.
So it's now normal, hard, and then nice.
He doesn't know.
I do. I know it's. I don't know the word. I know it's normal and hard.
It's right there. Just look at it, dude.
I have terrible vision. By the way, last time they were like, it's like they don't know where the camera is, and it's like, to be clear, there's a lot going on in front of us.
The big screen. What are you talking? You guys can't see it.
You can't see it. And plus, Eric's there, and he's lovely. Anyway, I gotta keep us on track here. So you get to from level 1 to level 50 in about 16 hours.
Yeah, something like that. It depends on how you play.
But it's quicker.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You gain multiple levels on one map.
And more importantly, more fun to actually kind of repeat the process. So you get better. Campaign gear makes more sense.
Yeah, you also get a chance to put it on. You know, when you win a map before, it used to say, stop playing or go to town. It's like, what? Like the two options are to not play? What the kind of stupidity is that? So now it's like next map, dude. Because all the maps are the same. I know.
I want to film a roast. I want to film a roast of the previous DD2 before the campaign of Revamp in honor of this.
I'm just trying to be funny about it. It makes it fun, right? It's not fun. It's not worth doing. But yeah, so at the end of the map, the timer doesn't kick in anymore and force you to make a decision or leave or anything. You can sit there and run around, pick up all the loot, and mull over it, and switch it out in your whole deck and swap heroes out because you're advancing your item power level pretty quickly.
You reach a higher eye power this time, right?
Absolutely. And so when you're done with the campaign, you're ready for Nightmare 1. In the old days, when you're done with campaign, you were level 20. You had like, what, 125 or 185 item power? So it's a big jump. But we didn't just squeeze it. I mean, everything is tailored around that now. It's really done. I mean, Steve Collins and Brett, everyone worked on the stuff really hard to make it really good.
So the campaign progression just makes a lot more sense, and it's
just,
a lot more streamlined. You can gear out quickly. Returning users benefit from the remap quest chain, and they're also sort of, you're geared better by the end of it for Nightmare 1. Just making sure that also, not most importantly, but win maps, get DMs and gems.
Yeah, why not? He's not going to get in here because you probably got a full bucket.
Oh, you can go to the next map also.
Yeah, do it,
the campaign.
I want to move that button. I want to move that button to the right, move the other one to the left.
That's fine.
I
think we'll do that tomorrow.
I think it was like that originally.
I should tomorrow Saturday when I feel
I just want to make sure I'm hitting everything on the campaign revamp because that was a lot of stuff in a short period of time.
Well,
we're probably not even covering
I have a question.
Yeah, let's get some questions.
So from Rabbit to Kano, if you've already made progress in the campaign before the patch, can you start over to see all of the new content?
Yeah, of course you can. I think the way we have it set up is that based upon where you were in the previous quest, we put you back at a level that's appropriate for you so you don't start failing. Like, oh my goodness, this is an item power 250 map and I had 70 on, I'm being slaughtered. So you may have a situation where some people are like, hey, in the old days I was just finished Ramparts, but now I'm back at Siphon's ID. That's so you can just immediately, by the time you gain like 3 levels in that map, because you could be like level 18 or 16 or 12, that's going to be like a distant memory after like 15 minutes. And in 15 minutes, you'll be getting a lot more levels, getting a lot more experience, and winning quicker, and racking up all kinds of rewards. So it'll be a lot more fun. It'll be like a momentary adjustment for someone who used to play.
I make
just jump
momentary
in and
adjustments all the time.
Momentary lapse of reason.
Any questions more about the campaign revamp?
Not right now. I think we need to kind of
let's keep on going. So we're going through at a rapid pace. I do have to give a shout out to our challenge winner, Enigma 007. He was the first one on our Double D challenge.
Oh, cool. See, that should be on the ticker stream right there. Like an embarrassing photo of him streaming by.
It's our Don't Die challenge. Enigma 007 won that, so expect a prize. He won it by just doing it first.
We should show up what deck he used to.
Oh,
that would be a cool idea. Like, which heroes did he use to get that, to meet that challenge or something?
I like that. I'm writing all this down. This week's challenge is the Time Trial 2 challenge. You might remember a couple weeks ago we had the Time Trial challenge that was all about the original campaign and how far you could get in it in 2 hours. See, what we did there was we knew the campaign revamp was coming, so now we're going to have on Tuesday starting our TTT challenge, which is the exact same thing. Start from a new hero, new campaign. How far can you get in 2 hours? And our bet is that people will be getting a lot further in those 2 hours.
Have a full deck. Bring 4 ones in there and see how far you can get.
Yep. So that's the TTT Community Challenge. I think it's been going well. It's been pretty casual. Thank you for participating in that. Congrats to Enigma 007, and see how far you can get in 2 hours.
Mysterious secret agent.
Which brings us to our round table. We're at our square table.
Oh, look at that cute
graphics. The push to get out of alpha. We have sound? I don't know if we go to it again. Here. So, if you missed the first half hour or so, you missed a lot. Our next update includes a lot of things, and I'll recap them quickly at the end of this half hour. But for this second half hour, in our round square table, we're actually just talking about the rest of the year, sort of like getting out, the push towards getting out of alpha. I'm wearing my emoji shirt because I'm super excited. This is the first step.
He already said that once.
I know. I just want to point out my awesome emoji shirt. I wore it on purpose. I have a happy face on my boobie. Okay.
Did he just say boobie on the internet?
Fair. But I have them. Okay. The first question off the bat, easy one, but I think a huge one, which is, what does The Journey Begins mean, and why that theme? Why The Journey Begins? Why?
I wonder what the answer to that question is. We started with a campaign and made a cohesive game experience. So that's step 1. And step 2 is going to be the middle, and step 3 will be the end. And what's going to happen in the middle and the end is going to ramp up towards the end game for all the in-game hardcore players. Because we've got everything set up now where you can start the book and get involved, or start the game and get involved and get hooked on it. New people can come in and get hooked on it, and old people can bring new people in to play it. Now that everyone will be on the same page, on the same kind of community of players, they can all then grow together with us for the next 2 major updates at the end of the year. So that's what we're shooting for. Because remember, at the beginning of the year, we all started doing this together. Finish the game was a big priority, which meant like PC to PlayStation. So we've done that. Tick, right? Used to be a single hero game, now it's a hero deck
Multiple
game.
hero games.
And you can pull the other heroes out too if you're really quick, and we're going to talk about how to make that even faster. You know, we've added a lot of cool stuff, a lot of incursions and fun loot and stuff like that along the way. So you have something to do while we're working on the game and trying to get it done. So that's pretty much what it's all about. It's just that beginning, middle, and end. This is the beginning. So now we got this basic foundation. Now we're ready to do the really hardcore stuff we're super excited about.
Only because I know that Jonathan and I have had a lot of conversations about this. I'm curious to get your take on that, just because I think it's a significant move. I think it's more significant than it might feel. I don't know.
I think part of it is also relating to you guys on a more personal level, right? And so for me, the journey begins means, well, this is our journey towards finishing the game and getting to 1.0. For you guys, for many of you, it's the beginning of your journey. I mean, that's the focus of the next push. So I think there's a lot of meaning there.
Well, that's what early access really should be.
Yeah.
You know?
And then comes the natural question. Does release mean you're done developing the game?
No.
It means we're just getting started.
It's a live game, dude.
Yeah. There's always going to be more heroes, there's always going to be more enemies, more things to add, more weapons, more incursions, and even newer things on top of that. Elliot really wants PvP, right?
Yep. Yeah,
He always talks about it. He was
motorcycles and guilds and horses and castles and 8-man battles, and I want all the pets put out there. We're going to buy them with Defender medals, and we have this massive list of stuff the community's been telling us they want to do too, and I think it's all good. None of it's bad. Well, there was one idea that was bad, but I'm not going to talk about it.
That was my idea, I'm sorry.
It was like emoji shirt costume.
It was an emoji shirt costume. So yeah, no.
Obviously, there's a list of anyone that plays this game. You could just rattle off 50 things from other games or whatever you want to see happen to it.
Yeah.
It'd be great to be in a position where the problem is not about fixing stuff and doing things right the second time around or innovating the game. It'd be more about like making it cool.
Experimentation, making
Yeah, because a live game, if people, hey, we're going to do this month and try it out. If you don't like it, we can change it around some. So that's what getting to that stage is the super
I
exciting
think it's
part.
about making the foundation just super strong. That
Yeah.
way we can continue to add layers on top
Oh
of it.
yeah, absolutely.
It strikes me
We're
that
excited.
Yeah.
before a journey, you kind of got to prepare, and that's what we've been doing for quite a long time. And now we're ready to kind of start this thing with you guys. We've done a lot of work. Well, you guys have worked with us. You've been, community has been vital to this game.
Oh yeah, we've had a lot of faithful, loyal players.
And
And we listen to what they say. A lot of them get frustrated because they don't feel like it's happening fast enough. But believe me, it's not like we're ignoring them. So.
That's why we had Tea Time with the Don last time, so you could become a game developer and help us out.
You guys, the night you guys have liquor bourbon night, let me know.
No tea. Liquor
Yeah,
with
and beer and killing people.
beer
Liquor
with
and
Benny.
dagger,
I'm into beer with Benny.
And motorcycles.
Beer and anger.
So why the
We're just being
campaign
silly.
revamp first? Because I think that's an obvious question, right? Like if I've been waiting for the end game to get fixed or whatever, why the campaign revamp first?
Gotta start at the beginning, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the foundation of the game. It's how you get players hooked into what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why actually the campaign revamp affects our entire community, because it helps our community grow and it helps people stick around to really contribute, to be
Yeah.
influencers.
We wanted to make sure we were put our best foot forward for if someone's new coming in and thought, if we made the end game really cool and people were like, oh, end game is great, and someone comes in who's new to the game and we had like
It
the
takes
whole
5
campaign,
days to get
takes
to level
forever,
50.
and they're like, what is this? It's too taxing,
dumb.
too time.
It has to be step one, and we're going to be we're going to the next step soon. So
Even with going to the next step, I have been surprised just watching the reaction from the QA team and from everybody here, because the other funny thing is it's when we hear forum feedback, trust that we hear that feedback in Trendy first. The QA team and everybody's saying the same things that you guys are, and what's been awesome has been seeing the campaign revamp sort of spread across Trendy itself, and everybody is I think even the people that are making it are surprised at seeing it all come together and it feeling different, it being harder, it being sort of
There's a detail about that you may not realize. It's not just taking the stuff and rearranging it, right? It's actually rebalancing everything. Like the difficulty when the enemies are introduced, what kind of loot drops on what level. It sounds like they just took the levels and glued them together. There's a lot more than that, dude. There's a lot more to it. It's been completely rebalanced from the beginning, middle, and end that's there. And it's very different than what it was before. It's very tough too. There's some spots where you're like, wait a minute, I'm being beaten. Hasn't happened before. So it's cool.
I remember that moment in Devstream 64, just I like calling it Devstream 64. That was 2 Devstreams ago when
32-bit.
exactly right. Eric was I think he was in Throne Room, and it wasn't like I think sometimes people think Eric dies on purpose. He doesn't, but
he got wrecked.
he got wrecked, and
Wehrman's probably wasted him.
and that right exactly, and I think those that in between changes, the in between the line changes.
Steve Collins put a lot of energy that he's in the Devstreams every now and this guy our lead levels are. He's done a great job with that. He put a lot of passion, and he's trying to make incursions all the time and make this stuff new, so it's fun. At the same time, he went above and beyond and put his own personal energy into making. I want to do this with it. I was like, go for it, dude. Like every time he said, I want to do this, I said yes, 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 and look what you get. So it's fun. So you can give this guy a lot of credit.
Did a fantastic job. There's a funny story about how hard kind of the game got. Chris, our lead QA guy, came up to me one day and he's like, man, there's a bug. The blockades, their health is way lower now. They're getting destroyed constantly all the time. Keep in mind, Chris and the QA team do nothing but play this game. So they're like used to like in seconds, oh, this blockade will be up for 32 seconds just in the back of their head. Then they turn and it's gone. And I'm like, no, I didn't change anything. Nothing changed. Then like a little while later, it's like, oh wait, yeah, the game's much harder now. That's what's going on. I'm like, yeah, Chris, yeah, that's what's happening.
It's cool.
It's one of my favorite things. I'm kind of this is a weird thing to be a nerd about, but I'm a creativity nerd, and I love when sort of like something that you do surprises yourself, and I get that sense about Trendy that, everybody's known what we've been working on, but they're surprised that sort of like it all coming together, and even just this first step, it is only the journey begins. So what went, and we started talking about this a little bit, but what went into revamping the whole campaign? So I know there's a lot. So whatever for the 3 of you pops in your head, let's talk about that for a little bit.
Well, I mean, Brett had to get in there and remap all the quests. Now, the original quest had to be just yanked out of the game. None of this running back into the Knight Commander and talking to the Enchanter when you're 34 and all that stuff, which is, when the game went from level 25 to level 50 last year, they had to wipe again for the hardcore fans. You probably remember that. They made this new user experience, and it wasn't really bad. There's nothing really that wrong with it, but it was very directed, very, very controlling and directed. And so we're gonna kind of take those chains and throw them in the river and say, listen, when someone who's never played before, you take 5 steps forward, there's a Knight Commander with an exclamation point over his head, you talk to him, he gives you a couple of defender mills, you can unlock the Monk and the Huntress, because we didn't want people going to the game with the Monk and the Huntress and just losing the first game and not knowing why. So you did a little touch there, that's the only little time you have to do anything to talk to anyone, and you get the maps, and all the maps automatically give into you, and automatically update when you win. And then just bam, you just burn right through it.
Do you know on my
so
first,
simple that it's like ridiculous.
On my first dev stream, I admitted that I died on the tutorial level with a monk, and y'all didn't tell me that I was.
We have friends of ours who aren't gamers, because not all your friends are gamers, all they should be. They're like, oh dude, I died playing this monk area. I thought he was gonna be a really cool kung fu guy.
Right.
Yeah, but you didn't have any barricades. And so that takes effort. And Brett had a good idea to do that and fix that, so we should do it, man. Go for it.
Haddad, same question, different area.
Well, another thing that Brett had to do was to go take that item power, right, and then redistribute it so that by the end of the campaign, you were you're basically ready to jump into Nightmare. Before, at the end of the campaign, you're like I power 100, depending on when you finish it, you could be like I power 30 or 50. And you had to go through this massive grind in this thing called like free play when we had that around, which was awfully annoying, and then end game, and then the easy, normal, hard, whatever, and then you can start doing Nightmare. It was very long-winded. They took that, kind of squished it out. And it feels better because as you're playing the game, you're getting more powerful items, you get better rewards, you're feeling really good about yourself, and you're taking on harder and harder maps. Like map 1 versus map 2 in the old campaign, the difficulty difference was not that massive, and now it is massive because you're getting way more item power, way more gear, and that's how that kind of feels cool.
Okay. Java, what went into revamping the whole campaign?
So I have a little bit of a different perspective because I am very heavily involved on the production side, and originally, this is sort of an insider information, the campaign revamp we were supposed to release a long time ago. So we started working on this thing an entire milestone ago. It was about 10 weeks ago.
Yeah, like August or July or something, I don't remember.
And the plan was for it to come out early
September,
something like that, right?
Like September 9th or something.
But we said, you know what, this is so cool, and it actually has so much potential, and people started getting so excited about it that we said, how can we make this experience actually that much more interesting? And that's when we went back and we said, okay, let's focus the miles. It's going to be the Mystic, the campaign revamp.
Yeah.
So we focused. We said, okay, let's figure out how we can make this experience super interesting. Let's improve the main menu. Let's add some illustration to drive the narrative and add to progression. So for me, I was really proud that we could pivot on the idea of really making that experience super, even more interesting for new players, and we just kind of, I don't know, I'm just really proud of it.
It's really good because what he did, and working with James Reed, our programmer who's remote, who thank goodness is going to move to Orlando, so we're going to run like a little beer tube down to where James is, and Marco's going to drive it.
We gotta get beer for Elliot. I mean,
I actually kind of jonesing for one, dude. No, I'm joking. But that whole UI experience that Josh and the guys have to do, they have to reflexively think, like, how does a new player think what to do here?
Yeah.
So every subtlety in the menu and the way things read and how things look and what's aligned and all that kind of stuff, that was clean, polished up. And at every moment, you're like, I'm a new player and I'm in the game and I've seen this and I do this. What do I think I need to do next? That's one of the biggest hardest problems with any UX designer that's also then creating content like you do yourself. And James is doing all the programming for the stuff in the background. So two of you together with some support from others had to do all this pretty much by yourself. So all this front end and how to make it look cool. We wanted to do binks in the front end screen. There was a technical issue with that. We did the real-time stuff. It's cooler looking anyway. I'm glad we did. So there's a lot of like big lofty goals.
Yeah.
Along the way we had to kind of like adjust, but the adjustments were even better. And all that collaboration was just like, it just kept getting cooler and cooler and cooler. So I'm really, really happy that everyone did it. I mean, a lot of the guys were cranking on the Mystic, who's really cool too.
Yeah.
So it's really great, and we're super excited about having all this stuff together. It's fantastic.
and I'm excited that I get to.
It feels like we completed something really big.
There, I mean,
Yeah.
and that's what I was about to say. Is that sense is infectious, even for I know I'm the host with the most, or the host of Us, or whatever.
And
but my position is marketing intern, so it's actually a non-production oriented sort of thing. And even the newness has infected sort of the marketing department in the sense that if you caught the trailer at the beginning, it was Elliot sort of speaking, and that's one of the things that I'm excited about.
From time to time.
That this campaign revamp feels so big and so different that we really want our tone to be a little bit different. And one of the things that excites me is I want more opportunities for y'all to see different faces of Trendy, because the truth of the matter is, man, I think part of the reason why we delayed it a little bit, part of the reason why people are so excited is because this freaking company is filled with Dungeon Defender 2 fanatics.
Oh, yeah.
And community fanatics and people who just love the game and love the community. And my sort of instincts as a douchey marketer are to go, let's try to take some of that natural sort of energy and love and passion and put it out there to spread the word, because I'm excited to get your guys' stories out there a little bit more.
No, those guys have been working here since the very beginning. Brian Goodsell's been here forever, and a bunch of other people who aren't out here who maybe don't even appear on the show. You need to wrangle some of those guys in here and get the shy barrier down or whatever's in the way. Because, I mean, this company has gone through a lot of changes over the years, and this is a real turning point for us. Because we've achieved something really awesome that now it's like all wide open that we can do next.
Say that again. It's a real what for us?
An opportunity.
Real turning point. Real
turning point. I can't remember what I said 5 seconds ago.
So speaking of that turning point, great. That's why I asked. What is the next area of focus for development and why?
Smart loot.
Smart loot.
Yeah, we're going to look at loot and class-based loot and try to make loot meaningful, interesting, and more powerful and better controlled, but not to prevent it from being fun getting it, to make it more interesting, more exciting. And then, of course, down the line, we want to do things with a chanting so you can like tinker the devil out of it all.
Okay.
But we want to switch to more of a smart, not a verbatim smart loot like from other games. It'll be something tailored for our game.
Yeah, I mean,
Something to make sense for this game.
just like we were talking about a bit ago, how we changed the campaign experience. Because before it was one hero you're playing with, now you're playing with a deck. There's a lot of things with our loot system that's still like, oh, you're playing with one hero, so the loot system's kind of generating things around that. We want to change that around. There's this deck that we need to be aware of. So those are the sort of things that we mean when we talk about smart loot. And then after that, the scaling
The
difficulty.
scaling difficulty, so we can go to much higher difficulties and have a scale, and then sprinkle that with really awesome signature enemies that are real counters for some of the heroes,
Mhm.
and have some heroes be real, like maybe only one hero can deal with this one counter. You're kind of like, oh gosh, is he going to show up?
It reminds me a little of when I hear you talk about it, it reminds me a little of like the Fire Emblem triangle, or like that just rock paper scissors sort of situation.
Rock, paper,
where-
scissors with 50 rocks, papers,
Yeah.
and scissors. If that's even a word. Scissors. The Gollum would say it that way, right?
Before we keep on
Lots of
going,
stuff like that.
I want to make sure we pause. And any questions that you have from the
Well,
community, or
you
any
know,
sort of
I'm glad that you mentioned scaling difficulty. So when can we expect Nightmare 10? And that's from Pup Step Komodo.
Pup Step Komodo.
Pup Step Komodo
So if you're a Komodo dragon and you were also a puppy
and a
took a
stepper?
step,
Yeah, right.
that's what you would be. Yeah.
I'm into it.
I think the first phase is to get the loot thing worked out, and then we're also already started figuring out how to do the Nightmare 10 stuff, and how to handle like take the SAS point system and turn it something where you can grow your power curve as well by earning something like the alternate advancement system in EverQuest, maybe a little slash of Paragon points from Diablo 3, but something unique, whether it's like hero levels or defender or net advancement levels. We want to do something where like the gear is really where it's at. The gear is the power curve.
Just like my emoji shirt.
Absolutely. Getting the gear is you got to get the gear loot chase is how you get better and your skills.
Okay.
Now we also want to have that work in with as you're getting more points and getting more experience. Experience has a value to you. You also gain power by gaining experience. So I'm getting off on a tangent for an hour, sorry, but yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Elliot, we know that you like tangents. That's what you're here for. You're here for tangents. So some things that we're trying to do differently moving forward. So bug reporting, we really are trying to fix all the bugs, technical issues in the game. We're also focusing on the game features that the community has said we need to improve, like inventory, like endgame.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh my goodness.
Smart loot.
Massive inventory thing you're doing now.
What's smarter than a smarter inventory management system? Actually, that was another thing. So similar in the same vein, campaign revamp. We're doing all this cool stuff, and then we're like, wait a minute, we should like also take it to 11, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with
Nightmare 11.
We said we're going to be designing this beautiful new system that's going to give players the loot that they want.
With this crappy inventory system.
Let's give them a way to actually manage their inventory very well.
Yeah,
You know?
that's
without
the
any
next big thing. You're challenging.
crankiness. Yeah.
And so, I mean, again, that's why it really is a turning point, because we're starting to finally be able to, get all these things that we wanted to put out there for the longest time.
Over the next couple of weeks, real quick, go ahead.
No, that's fine.
The next couple of weeks, as we figure out how long it takes to do those details, the one that we can do faster, that we can get out there to people, we'll do that right away. So like, usually you would think, well, the loot system would benefit everyone right away, but if we can do the difficulty levels and the challenge stuff faster, we might do that first. It would be great to drop them all at once, but it's not. We try to keep stuff released about every month or so. We don't want to hold back for 2 months and go dark. It's kind of dumb. So we'll probably do whatever is the most logical thing we can do fast that's polished and be tested pretty well first, but they all need to kind of work together.
And to that point, the mid milestones, and that's what we would call them internally. You might be used to, if you've been following us pretty intimately, every 2 weeks there's a little bit of something. So that's going to change up a little bit as we are kind of looking at the game from here until the end of the year.
Yeah, we have seasons coming up that we want to celebrate visually with fun things for Halloween and for Christmas and Thanksgiving, and we built a lot of heroes this year.
Yeah.
I mean maybe a couple more, but we need to get the enemy stuff going. So.
What were you going to say, Java? Do you remember?
So I was going to say, and I hope that you guys are listening, because
This
this is something. Inventory revamp, that's a precursor to inspection and maybe trading.
Trade, absolutely. No, maybe.
Yeah, so
Forget that.
we're designing that right now. And hopefully in the very near future, these are going to be possibilities that are open to our community.
Yeah.
Trade. Events. We're actually coming up with new ideas for weekend events to mix up the 3 Metal Weekend. This is where I actually don't know. I don't know if we have a 3 Metal Weekend live now or not. We do. Cool. We do have a 3 Metal Weekend. That is my bad. Normally blame Benny, but actually blame Benny. And then last but not least, as I said, we want to show much more behind the scenes in general with our big changes, much more the faces of Trendy and sort of what's going on behind the scenes. What are you, each person, what are you most excited to work on next?
Let's start with Java.
Okay. I'm excited about 2 things. I'm excited about the rock, paper, scissors. Yeah, this hero is really good at defeating this type of threat, and this type of threat is really good against this hero. I'm really excited about that interaction, because I think that's a part of the game that we really need to.
Yeah, we don't really have that happening as
to solidify. But the thing that I'm most interested in directly working on is definitely the inventory. I think it's a pain point that I've had for about 2 years now, and just having a smarter way to manage inventory is just one of the biggest things that we can do before we leave alpha.
Mr. Elliott?
For me, making the game harder, where the rock, paper, and scissors stuff happen and loot makes more sense, and progression. I'm a big progression player. I like to see power going up all the time, but I don't want it to be handed to me. I want it to be hard. I want to actually try to figure out how to beat something, not just show up and win with the amusement park thing. I'm kind of an old school gamer myself. I like the stuff that's harder, and I think we can put enough hardcore in there without alienating a lot of people. And I want the people who are really, really good that are really good at swapping heroes even out of their library. That's another mechanic we'll talk about, people who can swap from their deck to their library.
Okay.
So I'm very excited about that. I'm also hugely excited about what we're probably going to start talking about next week. We have a very, very big thing coming.
A big thing
It's
coming.
a very big thing.
It's a big thing.
It's a big
Maybe,
thing.
I mean, we even...
It is a cool big
in
thing.
conversations, we maybe even talked about
It's
biggest.
not-
We used the word biggest in some capacities. People freaked
No
out
Monty
about
Python
that.
references, but yeah. So I don't want to drop the ball at you.
No,
much,
no.
But,
We're
we have something very big coming. It's extremely cool. We're working on for a couple months.
So
on
that's how
Shadows.
excited I am about inventory that I forgot about that.
Good point.
But
dude.
this thing is
It's
big.
big.
It's big. It's big. It's cool.
We actually had to go out and look up to see how big it might
And
be, and it's pretty
I
big.
hate to sound like a little kid because I'm a
It's
big
the
kid,
biggest,
obviously.
It's the biggest.
But the seasonal stuff we're going to do is cool. We have all those cool other maps that are just done now, like the pirate map and all that stuff. I can't wait to get those things out too.
Yeah.
We have a lot. I mean, just the whole turn the page point now with the big thing you're going to hear about next week. You guys got to market that stuff so everyone knows about it. And all the changes to the game is just going to get like more and more awesome. That's the best part.
Ooh, I like having a secret. A nod.
Christmas is coming.
I'm gonna say two things too. Short term, I'm really excited about this big thing.
The big thing.
The big thing.
The big thing.
It's really
That's a big
honestly
sleep.
DBT.
Absolutely.
TBT.
Hashtag
the cool thing
big
about
thing.
it. Yeah, hashtag big thing.
Don't type that in your web browser, don't do it.
Hashtag big thing.
I'm surprised that we've managed to keep it a secret for 9 months now.
Right?
It's a really cool story how it began. So I can't wait to actually talk to you guys about how
We
that
have
all
a
came
special
to be.
Devstream as soon
Oh, a
as we
very
can talk
special
about it.
episode.
A very special tea with whatever talking about it. It'll be really
With
fantastic.
bourbon.
Yeah, it's honestly something really phenomenal, and we can't wait to talk about that. Long term, I'm really excited about the like tinkering improvements, and what
Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
by that, like I talked to you guys about the enemy thing a while ago, about how we're trying to get these enemies to do these really cool things, and Elliot's talking about that too, where there's this really cool enemy counted by whatever, and starting to dive in and build those and figure out how to get them in. But at the same time, looking at the things that you do often, you build a bunch of blockades, you build a bunch of towers. What can we do? How can we tweak that around to make it more entertaining, like in the short term, with like massive games? The dummy thing is another example, a small thing that's making life a little bit easier. We change the damage numbers to make things a little bit cooler. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of like passion building small little things that should be
Little wins and
yeah,
big victories.
should hopefully be making a big deal to the game.
I actually, once again, have an answer for this one for myself, which is what I am actually most excited about. Is I've been talking to Isom about the history of DD2 and the history of Trendy, and I guess I didn't appreciate how vital and central the community has been from the beginning in the decision making, in testing. Certainly, it really does feel like something that not a lot of other games have tried, and certainly we have our lessons from that. I'm really excited to see what the next evolution of that community interaction is. And I mean, not to be a little bit of a fanboy about it, but like, when you literally have people like Elandrian who started from the community, and we have multiple stories.
We get to yell at him now.
Eric is pointing to himself as well. When we have multiple people from the community,
That work hard.
Isom included, that are brought into the Trendy family, it's like a different level of fan culture. I mean, when I sat at 6 years old looking at my Nintendo credits and trying to find my name there, like, I'm hoping that there's a 6-year-old out there playing, Dungeon Defenders 2 and going, how can I do that? And this is, I just can't wait to see what this hypothesis leads to. That if you involve the community from the beginning and you try your hardest to make sure that they feel and are genuinely a part of it, both in staffing and in marketing and all of it, where it goes. I know that's my nerdy sort of love for people. I love people. Sorry. Okay, so speaking of community and people and talking about that passionately, some community questions. Let's go. I know in the past you guys have talked about your experiments with an account leveling system and how it didn't mesh with the game.
Yeah.
But have you reconsidered other possible account-wide systems?
We were talking about that yesterday, like how we probably should have done an account leveling system a long time ago, but I still think that the individual hero level, and when we introduce this like defender advancement levels, I'm just going to coin the phrase for it right now. I mean, that's what it is in the backlog, is we want to give you a way to increase your power curve over time, maybe give you passives and stuff like that, a talent tree. I think those things need to be kind of individual to the individual hero. We don't want it to be an agnostic, I'm a Dota player with an MMRA, and that just is not the same as having, I'm good at these 4 heroes, I'm not good at this one. And so I think the individual hero thing still needs to stay anchored
A
there.
good way to think about it. We may not be going account wide, but something we are doing, and you guys have seen it already, is we're going deck wide, right?
Yeah.
There are some things that influence your deck, and potentially in the future when we talk about score and leaderboard, that might be something that goes to that too. Like, oh, with this deck you managed to achieve this and
Yeah.
that. So not necessarily account wide, but definitely your deck means something.
Yeah, it's like in sports, you get a team and they got statistics that their win-loss ratio and how good they did this. Now below that, there's also like batting averages or win-loss and knockouts, all that kind of stuff. So, that's the kind of stuff with leaderboards you want to play around with. Not
Sports.
like,
I understand some of those words.
Yeah.
Are you going to stick with multiple nightmare modes, or are you going to merge nightmare into one mode like DD1? If you stick with multiple modes, what's your thought process behind keeping that designed?
Definitely multiple. We're sticking with multiple. Obviously, we just talked about how we're working
Yeah, we
towards
answered that
that.
already, actually.
Like we said already, we definitely want there to be a challenge, a skill. When you get to Nightmare 5, it means something. When you get to 6, it means something. It's these big achievements that you hit along the way. And obviously, the challenge has to ramp up and mean something as well with the enemies, with the things like that. And obviously, once we're challenging you and beating your face and you finally counter that, we give you a reward for it. So the rewards have to matter as well. So we don't want to just keep it into one mode because it feels very flat.
Fair. Yeah.
It's got to have a
And
journey.
plus, 10. we're on our way to 10. What happened to the tower skins you promised in the collector's edition?
What happened to that? That was before my time. You guys are in trouble. I was out of town when that shit happened.
That is definitely something that is still
I need
on.
to do that. Y'all are in trouble.
That is definitely something we're still.
We need to
still
do it,
worried
and we talk about it a
Yeah.
lot, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
We promised something, we're going to do it, right?
Yeah, we're going to do it. It's just a matter of when. It's something that we'll easily be able to do. It's just we want to get the heroes done. We're gonna get the end game done. We want to get all that stuff done, and then we give you the cool, nice reward of customization.
That was promised when there was just 4 heroes.
I think that falls under the category of the layer of cool stuff that we can do once we're
Yeah.
Sprinkling stuff
Exactly.
on top of the icing.
Helm of Storms. It doesn't work with everyone, and the people it does work for makes it virtually untouchably good. Is it going to get retuned, rebalanced, or is it stuck that way?
It is going to stay affecting the first 4 for now. The thing that to note about our new heroes and our mana system and the future of mana is that we're going towards a kind of future that each hero has their own like mana regeneration and system kind of tied to them. Obviously, for example, perfect example, the Mystics. If you wear the helmet on the Mystic, it's actually a detriment. Because if we went and took your appeasement meter, that as you reach certain thresholds, you gain cool things, and then we increase that threshold, or like things along those lines started to happen,
Wouldn't
it wouldn't make sense. It's actually a detriment. So it's going to stay for the first 4 for now, and then we're going to take it from there.
Okay, I know we're over, but I want to get through some questions real quick. Will you be changing or buffing the pet abilities that are just a waste of space right now?
We have plans for pets.
Yeah, we got very cool plans for pets.
Okay. Is grinding out for higher eye power items in victory chests, like the current eye power at 750 items on specific maps, your goal for endgame, or is it just temporary?
Temporary. We'll talk
Yeah.
about endgame in the future.
In game, it's going to be a lot more than that.
Last but not least, favorite question: when is the barbarian coming?
Soon. Very soon. We actually
After the
we're
big
working
thing.
on that.
After the big thing.
After the big thing.
After hashtag big thing.
I wrote him up a few days ago, and Elliot was.
I put red marks all over design documents.
Oh crap! I have a third question. Oh, well, sorry,
I know.
we can't get. This is a lot of stuff. Sorry, we're already over time. I don't think. Yeah, we're good.
Cool.
Actually, one more. No, we already have inventory. Sorry, we already have inventory. We already answered that. So, sign off is if you just joined us. We went through a lot. We got Mystic coming out on Tuesday with
Play
a.
a campaign with your friends and get ready for the big thing.
We got a campaign revamp, right? Reintroduce the game to your friends. It's kind of like, hey, welcome to the new
Yeah, they'll
game
actually have
experience.
fun. It'll be fun.
And then we also have, second half hour we talked about from here until the rest of the year. We are on our way out of Alpha and we are super excited. We appreciate our community. We appreciate you guys. Hopefully you've been following us on Twitch for giveaways. If you follow us on social media, there's also going to be a lot of giveaways that we constantly give away there.
And the Mystic, don't forget the Mystic.
The Mystic
also coming soon.
is coming soon, and that
Tuesday.
was part of our giveaway. She's coming on Tuesday, campaign revamp on Tuesday, Friday fun stream next Friday, all sorts of things throughout the week. Thank you to you guys for spending some time. Thank you for you guys. Give us feedback on our early dev stream.
Elliot will go kill things now.
Elliot will go stack and kill things and have a beer. Thank you guys so much.
You guys have a good
lovely
weekend. We'll see you later.
Friday.
Yeah.
Hashtag stacking sands.
Stacking
The big
sands.
surprise
The-
of fans.
The stacking sands update.
Big thing.
The big thing.
The big thing.
Hashtag the big thing.
Oh, nice. It's like the end.